Welcome to ViewTheRace.com. This is the Vineman Triathlon Bike Course, Part 2. This is miles 38 through 65. So as we take the left on Route 128, we continue with similar terrain through the vineyards. This part of the course does flatten out a little bit. Again, you can see the arrows on the road, so we're just going to stay right. And we're going to speed up the video just a little bit, as the terrain is pretty static through this section. There's going to be vineyards on your left and right. Again, beautiful views, the same views that you've been seeing for most of the first 38 miles. This section is just slightly rolling. No big hills through this section at all as you drive through the farmland. As you wind your way through the vineyards, you're soon going to be taking a right onto Chalk Hill Road. It's going to be a fork in the road. Now, right after you take the right on Chalk Hill Road, there's going to be a water stop right there, right at the fork. That's especially helpful on the second time around, right here. Now, when you get on Chalk Hill Road, you're going to soon pass through mile 40. And you have to realize that Chalk Hill is on Chalk Hill Road, but it's a good ways down from the initial turn onto the road. So you have about 5 miles before you actually hit Chalk Hill. So just keep that in mind. When I first hit Chalk Hill Road without knowing the course, I was kind of a little bit panicked with anticipation, thinking it was going to be around every corner. But if you know where it is, you don't have to worry about it for a little bit. There is actually one good-sized hill before Chalk Hill that is going to be coming up, that if you don't know the course, you might think it actually is Chalk Hill, but it is not. Tough hill here, right here. Tough little hill. And then followed by a pretty good downhill. The road just flattens out a little bit. Again, Chalk Hill Road is just a rolling road before you hit the big hill. And once we get to the hill, I'm going to slow the tape down so you could see the hill right from the bottom to the top. A little bit of rough road once you get on Chalk Hill Road, which is a little bit different than what it was for the last few miles. You're also more of in a wooded area, more rural. Twist and turn your way around. As you wind your way around, suddenly you're going to come up and you're going to be faced with Chalk Hill. Now, Chalk Hill it's a pretty long hill. It's not too steep right at the beginning, but it quickly starts to continuously get steeper and steeper as you climb this hill. And I think the difficult part too is that you can't see around these corners right away. So if you don't know the course, you don't know how many switchbacks you still have to deal with. And that can be pretty nerve-wracking, especially if you're struggling in your lowest gear. So the road just continues to wind up. There is a lot of rough patches of road as you go up, which doesn't make it any easier. And there were people lining both sides of the road, especially towards the top, cheering you on. It gets really steep right about here. This is a really steep part of the course. And as you come around this corner, you're finally going to be able to see the top, but it's very steep. And then you finally crest the top of the hill. And then once you crest the top of the hill, you have an absolutely screaming downhill on the backside. And then there's a quick turn to the left, and there's some rough road. But getting over Chalk Hill is a big part of this course, and it comes late in the race, you know, just before mile 45. And if you're doing the Ironman, it comes at, you know, mile 95 or between 90 and 95. And it's just a really, really tough hill, especially the second time around. Okay, after you get up and over Chalk Hill, the road does flatten out or returns to what it was before, just a rolling course. Once you get over that downhill, you know you have less than 10 miles to go, and the last 10 miles of the course really are not that bad. Just continued similar terrain than what you've already faced, just rolling hills. There's some rough road through this section. You can see the patches on the pavement. Nice little downhill section here. This was a really nice downhill. Nice rest on the legs. Just continuous downhill. And then you have a slight rise. Now, as each mile goes by, you're going to get closer and closer to civilization. It seems like you're in the middle of nowhere when you're on Chalk Hill Road. There's woods on both sides of you, you know, farms, and just very, very rural. And now you're slowly breaking out of that and heading more towards city-like cycling. And as you come up this small little hill, you're going to take a right on East Shiloh Road. And as soon as you take a right on this road, you're going to have a very nice downhill section right here. It doesn't look like much of a downhill, but it's just a slight downhill on a very smooth road, and you can just cruise right down this road right into town. Really nice reprieve from facing all those rolling hills. And the terrain definitely starts to get a lot different now. There's going to be a few more turns as well as we head back towards Windsor High School. I can tell you your legs are very happy at this point to eliminate all those rolling hills and farmland. It's nice to see something different. You almost have the same scenery for hours. Okay, as you come up and over the highway, now there's actually going to be a coned off section in the middle of the road that you're going to drive through on race day. That'll guide you through those lights. A couple sets of lights you're going to go through. Take a right on Skylane Boulevard. Now, Skylane Boulevard, just not too bad, just a slight uphill on this road, and there was a lot of rough road on this road as well. As you work your way to the top, you're going to be taking a left at the set of lights. Again, there'll be plenty of police presence on the road at the lights and volunteers. You will not get lost, and the police were very good stopping the cars. It was not an issue at all. just a slight rise, slight little hill here. And then you're going to take a right onto Windsor Road. Now as you can take that right on Windsor Road, it's just going to be some little rolling hills. So you pass through mile 55 and then the road flattens out, and then get ready because you can take a left on Vineman Lane. Now for the final loop, we're going to continue straight at that point and head to the high school, which is only about a quarter mile away, but now we're going to take a left back out on Vineman Lane. Just light rolling hills through here, very small. And at the end of Vineman Lane, we're going to take a right onto Star Road. Now remember, this bike course, the next 9 miles or 8.5 miles are different on the second loop than they were on the first loop, because obviously on the first loop you started at the Russian River. So we're going to join the course that we did on the first loop after about 9 miles of new ground. So the next 9 miles are new territory before we start repeating some of the course. So we take a left on Windsor River Road and some big sweeping hills through here. Now as we work our way around, now the road's going to start going really downhill. This is going to be a very long, fast downhill. But at the end of the downhill, we have to take a right. So just be aware of that. Watch your speed. And then you take a right onto East Side Road. And it's going to start rolling again. Now this is a unique part of the course where we just go out East Side Road just for a short stretch, and then we actually do a complete 180, turn around, and come back the way we came. Right here. Just a very short stretch on East Side Road. And then we just go back the way we came. Kind of an unusual little part of this course. And then as we come up on Windsor River Road, we're just going to continue straight and stay on East Side. We're not going to go back up the hill we just came down. So we're just going to go past Windsor River Road and then continue out on East Side. And now we're back into kind of familiar terrain with farm country and vineyards on both the left and right. Just rolling terrain through here. Very similar to the terrain we did for the first 25, 30 miles before we start hitting the small towns. Okay, passing through mile 60. Riverfront Regional Park on the right. Okay, just some big rolling hills through this area. Nothing overly taxing, but just some normal rolling hills that we've encountered on most of this course. A little bit of rough road through this part of the course as well, so just be aware of that. And we're going to start a little bit of a tough little uphill here as we head up to the stop sign, and we're going to go to the right at the stop sign. Tough little uphill, and we're just going to bear the right, which is a continuation of East Side Road. After we take that right on East Side Road, we're going to have a nice little downhill here. But just a warning, there's a lot of rough road on this downhill. So maybe coast down the hill, but just be very aware of the road and the conditions of the road. There's a lot of rough patches on this stretch. And it can get very fast because it's pretty steep at certain points. You can really pick up some nice speed. You can see the road has a lot of rough patches on it. Just more vineyards all down the left-hand side. Beautiful vineyards. Now we're going to take a right here on Wooler Road. A little bit of an uphill right as we take the right. Again, continuation of some rough patches of the road here. Okay, now kind of coming up on the left is going to be a very interesting part of this course. We're actually going to go over a cool bridge. Just an open-air bridge on both sides. Very narrow bridge, and it's very, very interesting to go over. Definitely a new part for this course. So it's open on both sides, and you're pretty high up. Kind of an interesting part of this course. This will be the only time we go over the bridge, but it's pretty cool to drive over it. And at the end of the bridge, you're going to bear to the right, and we're going to take a right onto West Side Road, and that is the part of the course that we've already seen. So that ends the 9-mile stretch of new territory. Now we're going to take this right on West Side Road, and we've already seen this stretch. So we immediately go into a little bit of an uphill. And you'll remember this part because if you look at the pavement, it's that dirty pavement that, you know, when I drove on it, I thought it might be very slick, which it may well be. Just some clay-type pavement. And then you come up to the top of the hill, and then you have that screaming downhill. You'll remember this part for sure. And this tight corner. And we're coming up on mile 65, so watch the next video to see the next part of the course. Thank you for viewing the race at viewtherace.com.